Welcome to the Dominate Your Niche podcast with me, Ruth Ferreira. Here we chat to some of today's best small business leaders, individuals who are shaking up their industry and dominating their niche. The show tackles all things business growth, from strategy, marketing and branding, and delves into the secrets of what it takes to dominate your niche. The aim of this podcast is to empower founders with big dreams, small and micro businesses, and even solopreneurs who are looking to make a big impact. People who are hungry to learn from those who have gone before them and implement that knowledge to next level in their own business. So welcome, lean in, and then go take action to propel yourself towards dominating your niche in your small business. Welcome to the latest episode of the Dominate Your Niche podcast with me, Ruth Ferreira. I'm excited to introduce you to Enfys Maloney, speaker, sales expert, and epic events host, and 5-time award winner. Enfys is a dynamic force in the small business world, committed to helping unstoppable service-based business owners to dramatically increase their sales quickly and effectively. Key themes that we touched on included starting cheap, freeing yourself up to work more, building community around your brand, list building, heroing the client results, and the product wheel. I can't wait for you to listen. Hi, Enfys. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Ruth.
Great to have you here. So, Enfys, you have just had your 4-year business anniversary. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What I would love to know is about your journey to get here. How did you end up running a sales training business? And I'm pretty sure this goes back more than 4 years.
So 4 years ago, I was running I just had, it was the pandemic, right? And so my business is a pandemic baby. It would not be here had my travel business not been devastated by the pandemic. So I had a travel business. There was a global travel ban. All my holidays were being cancelled. All the hotels were closed. It was freaking brutal time in the industry. And I remember asking my network, all right, so I can't sell holidays, like it's just game over basically, but I can help you sell your thing. Does anybody want my help? And I was with Athena Network at the time, and they were really supportive, and the chat blew up. It was like ping, 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 ping. Yes, 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 yes. And I was like, oh, all right. There's a concept validated here. And
what was your sales experience at the time? Because obviously you must have been good at it. Otherwise people wouldn't be asking. But had you had a lot of sales training?
Yeah, I'd always been in sales. So I did a criminology degree. And then whilst I was waiting to get a real job, I went into recruitment, which is sales, right?
Yeah.
Corporate sales. And then I went traveling, came back from traveling, and I was like, right, I love selling and I love sales and I love travel. I'm going to sell travel. And then I was a top seller for the organizations that I worked for. And then I worked for like a boutique travel company, and I was one of their sales team leaders and did some of the in-house sales training there. And I always said if I wasn't in travel, I'd be a sales trainer. But I never actually thought that would come to be. Do you know, it's like almost like be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, be careful what you're putting out into the world.
Yeah. And then yeah, my travel business was quite young. It was a year or two, and my selling on social media I'd always been really, really good at it. And sales calls, I'd always been really, really good at it. So although I didn't know everything I know now, I knew enough to help. And my courses back then were really cheap, and it was like no brainer. And I got my first clients for my first thing in really quickly, and it's grown since then.
Love it. So what was your first offer that you put out?
It was £160 for 5-week online, like Meet Weekly course. I think I've been trying to remember the name of it. It was like Sales Foundations or Foundational Sales or something to that effect. But it was 160 quid. And I think I got 12 people on that first course in the first
it. So was that it full? The first cohort?
It wasn't going to be full. It was just, I hadn't really thought, I hadn't got sales targets at that time. You know, I was just like, Oh my God. I'll
Let's
do,
see where we end up with this.
let's
I
just see
love
what
that.
happens.
And what
Yeah.
was going on in your head at the time? Were you like, yes, I'm doing this, this is amazing, or you're like, what the fuck am I doing? These people are paying to get sales training from me.
So it was a weird one of like doubt versus belief, you
Yeah.
know? So I was like, oh my
And
God.
most people have that. Like,
Yeah. Well, so I was like, I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing, but I have this unbelievable belief that I can do it.
yeah. Yeah,
So I
I can
wasn't
see
sure
that.
exactly how, but I thought, if anybody can figure it out, I can.
Yeah.
And the person I really had to like steady was my husband, because there was like I just lost my income really quickly to the pandemic. We relied on my income. We like how are we going to pay the mortgage was like a real thing, like because when you lose one of half your salary, the
Mm,
household salary, there's like an immediate need to start to recoup
yeah.
those funds basically. And there was a lot of, can you just get a job? And I was like, hold on tight, I can do it.
I love
Believe
it.
me, I can do it.
I love
Wait,
it.
wait. And it was almost like just hold, hold, hold. And now, we've relocated to Wales. He's left his engineering career. He works with me in the business, for me, with me in the business. There's no question now that it works, if you see what I mean. But
It's
it was
amazing.
unbelievable. It was like other people's doubt a little bit that was more than mine. I wasn't exactly sure what I was doing. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, those early days are kind of a fog of like trial and error, and that is business development, isn't it? It's a lot of trial and error and perseverance. My God.
Absolutely. And I, honestly, I'm really intrigued by Rick, by the husband's point. So at what point was he on board and being like, this is happening, let's run with this?
Yeah. So he's always been really supportive, but he's far more logical than me.
Mm,
And I'm like, just trust, And I think May 2023, we were like, that's it. Him going to pursue his career was
mhm,
costing us more than he was being paid, because it was limiting how much I could work, because I was doing like what 20 hours a week, because I was
mhm.
doing all the kid pickup. We've got two young girls, and primary school, and all the afternoon kids. I was working between like what 10 and half two,
Yeah, that's
and
not a lot of time.
it's not a lot of time to create an empire. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, you going to work is costing how far and fast I can fly.
Mm,
So
that's
he
an
went,
interesting conversation to have as well.
yeah,
Not
but he was fine. I mean, it was obvious. It wasn't
mm,
like I need to approach him. He was just like, I think I should go to 30 hours at my work. And then he would come down a bit and I would go up. And they rejected his request to um, work less. And they didn't call the bluff, I think. I think they thought he was bluffing. And
mm,
he was like, no, if you don't, I can't work full time now. My wife is, her work's more important, basically. Or, we can't carry on
mm.
with how it is.
So what
And
happened?
and there was a house that we had been looking at in Wales that we had not been brave enough to buy, and it was too expensive, and we were not in a financial position to pursue it about a few months earlier, and we'd come to see it, and we're like, oh, we got COVID, and we just whatever.
Mm,
So that's back in time. This is May now. I was on a French business retreat in somewhere in Cognac, and he messaged and he was like, my request's been denied. And we were like,
oh
what
wow.
the frick? Like, how dare they? How dare they?
Yeah,
So, like,
cheeky.
all our future of what I thought, like, he was going to work less, I was going to work more, everything was settled. It was just like a simple thing. We hadn't even
Mm,
considered that they would say no. But they said no. First thing both of us did was look on Rightmove. The house that we had wanted had fallen. Whatever sale that had been in motion had fallen through. It was back on the market at just about a price that we could afford,
I
and he
love
quit his
it.
job and we bought it.
It was meant to be.
it was a scary freaking moment. That
I
was,
can
it's
imagine.
been and since it's been a freaking scary 18 months since, really, because
And did that make you up your game? Did that increase your tenacity, or that was already there?
no, I've always been kind of tenacious and kind of ambitious. I don't know, although maybe you are. Maybe I've got more galvanized and more reinforced with that ambition because I'm like, the belief in what I can achieve is like, it's the proof is in the pudding now. And
Yeah.
whereas before it's like, trust me, there's no proof that I can do this, but trust me. Whereas
Yeah.
now it's like, oh yeah, if I leave Envis to it, she can get on with it and
Take over the world.
create something. Yeah, well,
So,
I want to don't want to take over the world. I want to bring the world with me. Do you know what I mean? Like I think success is
mm,
accessible for anybody who chooses to pursue it, and it is a choice
beautiful.
to pursue it. Um,
Love that. It's a
so
very inspiring quote. So, what I would love to know in your business growth journey, what strategies have you used to grow?
oh, so many, but it depends on where closing strategies, audience growth, building strategies, lead generation strategies, they're all in there. But I think what has really been informative to my success is the community that I've been able to cultivate around the brand. And it's been such a joy. There's some things I've done wrong. Like I wish I'd list built like sooner. I wish I'd made
Hmm.
that a priority from sooner on in my business because I still got a tiny audience, like in
Hmm.
comparison to some of the big players. But I got to my first six figures with like 500 on my list and 500
Mm.
on my Instagram. And I was like, if I can do that with such a tiny audience, then what could I do with a full, far-reaching audience? But so that's good. Audience growth will be a focus for this year. But
Okay. So what was the secret then to hitting six figures with that tiny audience? How did you
well,
make that
just
happen?
looping back to your original question as to what the strategy is. So creating this community around the brand
Hmm.
where it's not just me and the audience. It's like actually we do things together. Like
Hmm.
there's such a community around the brand. I mean, I don't know if have we ever met in person, Ruth? Have you been to any of
No,
my
not
events?
not yet.
What?
I know I had a clash. I was all in for the last one, and then I
Oh,
realized I
don't
was
worry. We've got
running
some.
quite an important mastermind that day, and
Yeah.
they were at the exact same time,
Ah, yes,
five
yes, yes,
hours
I
apart.
remember. But I've run so many events. We've got some amazing events. There's three events coming up this year as well. Um, but
So
you'll feel it.
events have been key, community.
Yeah, yeah, because every time I've put an offer out there have been people in the wings ready to buy it. So often people really think about their offers and we really want offers, but I'm like, is there anybody there to buy it? Is
Hmm.
there anybody that's going to be mad enough to be your founding members? Like the first clients are so integral to our success. I've got so much gratitude to all my first clients and then the repeat clients, but those first ones that came on board and
Hmm.
trusted you when the concepts are kind of
Yeah,
unproven,
untested.
untested,
Absolutely.
yeah. And so bringing the audience with me, so it
Bringing the
was
audience
not,
with you.
yeah,
So
to create a
there's a lot of
community.
relationship there, both
Yeah,
between you and the audience, your potential
yeah,
clients, but
yeah.
also between your potential clients and your existing clients as well.
Yeah. And then you know what? You're only as good as your client's results. So I made it absolutely front hero, center stage to make my to enable my clients to get results and they have flown. So I create um I create an environment for them to flourish and they do. So I
Amazing.
can hook my reputation onto their results, not my own results. If you see what I mean, and there's a key
Mhm.
difference it's all very well and good for me to get great sales, but actually that's not what my audience want to see. That's not what they buy into. What they buy into is their own results, right? They want it. And so that's it. So we're only as good as our clients' results has been like fundamental to my success as well. So I'm like, right,
Amazing.
how can I create offers that actually
Mm.
enable them to actually execute the strategies? The strategies are freaking simple half the time, you know?
Yes. If people actually do them.
if people pursue them, and this element of perseverance is key. Like, and failure is a part of that. And I know you wanted to ask me about failure. We can talk about failure.
We can come
But
to that later because
yeah.
what I, the next place my head's going is I'd love to know about your product ecosystem. So,
Okay.
because I think what I see in your business is that you have beautiful stepping stones to your products, but you've also got a nice range of products so that people can come in at varying price points and then
Yeah.
build up to your VIP products.
Mm.
Can you tell me a bit about,
Yeah, sure.
how you designed that, and especially how did you design the pathways in? Because I know that's something big that you teach on as well.
Mm. So I think people talk a lot about product ladders, and it's not for me. I have a product wheel, and this wheel, if you can imagine the spokes, and they point to different things. There might be a spoke that points to a free thing. There might be a spoke next to it that is my VIP level. There might be another spoke which is then my retreat, then maybe like a vibrant connections for my networking. It could be the successful. It could be now ambition ignition, which is new. And to me, I don't really mind where people come in at.
Hmm.
They don't come in at the bottom of the ladder and work up. That's just not, I'm not trying to orchestrate the audience or manipulate the audience like
Hmm.
that. I'm like, you come in wherever you want to come in. I
Hmm.
will meet you there. And so there is a door opening at any one of those places, and my VIPs will come in and then they'll go to my free thing. They'll go
Love
to
it.
my
Love it.
retreat. My retreat members might come into Vibrant Connections, my Vibrant Connections. Like they can ricochet with inside
Mm.
this wheel
So,
without feeling like
so
I'm
your
channeling
product
them.
wheel
Mm,
is actually designed so that anyone could choose any of those bits as a starting point.
yeah, in
And that
theory.
works really well for you actually, because you only promote each of those at a certain time of the year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
So it's
almost never promote my VIP because it's filled before I've managed, like it just I never promote that really.
Mhm.
Vibrant Connections is always kind of open. I'm adapting that to enhance it. That was something I launched last year. And of course, with each of our offers, they don't they don't stay static.
Mhm.
We have to evolve them, enhance the client experience. We've got to think, how are they scalable? You
Mhm.
know, are they truly scalable? And then we hit a dead end because we're like, they're scalable to a point.
Mhm.
And then we need to, make sure that the client experience is front and center, but also that the slickness of the operation can match the aspirational goal. So I want to make Vibrant Connections massive this year, best. I want it to be award winning, all the rest of it.
Love
Uh,
it. I'm excited to be a part of
yeah,
that. It sounds
yeah,
fun.
yeah. I'm looking forward to telling you about it actually, and yeah, seeing where it goes. But then yeah, this ecosystem, I'm working on it. There's
Yeah.
always there's always this intentionality with my offers of making them better, refining them, looking like where there are gaps for improvements, where are any of my clients being left behind?
Mm.
This is really, when you run digital programs or self-study, like it's our job to make their success available to them.
Mhm.
So are there any gaps? Are there any ways that I can reinforce the experience so they are more likely to execute and make marketing a daily habit?
Mhm.
Like the repetition of this stuff is what makes a strategy come
Yeah.
alive. Um, so
Now,
yeah.
question for you. Have you ever put a product out and it's just completely failed? Has that
Oh,
ever been your experience?
well, not until recently. Do you want me
Oh,
to tell you about it? I'm
yes.
really, I'm really happy to
This
share
can
this
be your
story.
failure story if you want, or we can still go
Yeah,
back to failure later.
yeah. It's not a true failure because actually it's come out rosy in the end. But
Love it.
so I my like I said, I always look at like what am I selling? Are there any gaps?
Hmm.
I've had my 12-month program at around about 2K for 12 months available. And then I've had my VIP level, which is a significant investment.
Mm.
And between those things, there's been like this gap, right? This gap, this gulf. Like
Mhm.
either me at a limpet, like a limpet to your business, or me at quite a distance. So
Mhm.
I'm like, there's been a space for this new way to support you. So I created Ambition Ignition. So this is my story. It's really fresh.
Oh, it's really
Yeah,
fresh, isn't
it's
it?
really fresh. Yeah, this is going to be interesting to you. And I launched this, what, 3 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Two
Okay.
weeks ago, yeah.
You're being
And
vulnerable here. I'm liking this.
yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like, yes, it's vulnerable, but also it's the real story. So actually, there's
Yeah.
nothing to hide.
Yeah.
And
Power in that.
yeah, yeah. So I did the launch. I've done, to put it into context, I launch really successfully throughout the year.
Hmm.
From like 20 to 40K launches is kind of normal.
Hmm.
Anything under 20K, I'm like,
Yeah. What went wrong there?
yeah. Um, oh, not what's gone wrong, but what needs salvaging or adapting. So
Mm.
this is where I got to with Ambition Ignition. I created it, 6-month mastermind, 4K investment, and it did not land. It didn't land, honestly. And I was like, my marketing's there. The
Hmm.
messaging is on point. There's a lot of circulation around the offer. There's always a lot of interest in my stuff. So why are people not stepping forward for this?
Mm.
And it's always the classics, right? The classic objections are no time, no money,
Hmm.
or I haven't got the time, or the investment is too much. So I was looking at it and I was like, right, it's a sound offer. Like
Hmm.
I'm I'm intuitive enough to my audience and my to my audience and offers to know that it was sound, but it wasn't landing. The
Hmm.
appetite for a 6-month investment in terms of time was too heavy.
Okay.
And the 4K investment, because there's a lot of new people in my space now,
Hmm.
I point ads now. So we've got a colder audience.
Mm. I came in through
Um,
an ad, by the way. That's how I first heard
oh,
of you.
did you?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
cool.
Probably your earliest ads. It was, I think,
Mm,
18 months ago. But
no way.
yeah,
Ah,
small
well,
world.
this is the ricochet effect or the the links in the chain are amazing when you start to look back at them in business. But let
Mm.
me carry on with the story because it's interesting. So Ambition Ignition, there wasn't the appetite for the 6-month commitment in terms of time. Like, what are people doing in summer? Could they come to 2 events? Did they need 2 headshots? Could they commit every week for that level
Mm.
of intensity is the wrong word, but just level of commitment for 6 months?
Mm.
No, was the
Okay.
answer. And they didn't want to put as a first investment the 4K down.
Hmm.
And I was like, all right, I'm going to cut the whole thing in half.
Mm.
And it's now almost full. I've got 2K.
Amazing.
Okay, so I was like, okay, so if the objection is not enough time and it's too expensive,
Hmm.
which are usually the key things, but the messaging was on point. My I I couldn't see any other gaps in the launch.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, so this is a new offer. It's not validated. There's no testimonials for it. The
Hmm.
exact system of how it works isn't quite clear because
Yeah.
it sort of
Yeah. We've all been there.
it's new. It's new. Um, so I was like, I'll cut the whole thing in half. So I put out it's 50% off.
Hmm.
Got discovery calls, which I don't usually do discovery calls because usually people just buy from the masterclass or the webinar or
Hmm.
the challenge or something like that. So that was nice as well because I got to speak to lots of people. The conversion was really high from those calls. They stepped in at 50% and they've got a 3 months intense is the wrong word, but like full commitment. You can commit to 90 days, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I can't help you get 2K, we've got bigger problems here. So
Yes. Absolutely.
so
Amazing.
so I've
So,
got this cohort starting, and with this, just like this is what I was saying on the discovery course, and I've been really, really honest about it. It's like there wasn't that appetite for the 6 months or the 4K.
mhm.
However, 3 months at 2K is really easy, like
Yeah.
bite my hand off. And the
And
chances are they'll stay for the 6 months.
I imagine so. So that's really interesting. So you put out a product, which honestly, I think most people expected would absolutely fly,
Yeah.
and it didn't. So you thought through all of the things. You thought like how where
Yeah, I do
What's not,
diagnostics.
what's not landing.
Mm,
You recognize that it was the level of commitment and the price point. So you
yeah,
rate that back, put the same offer out to the same audience, and now it's
yeah,
almost full.
yeah. So what we need to do, this is where we have to have one intentionality, but also expert eye as to like, do I persevere or do I respond to the market?
Hmm.
And a lot of people will be like, right, it's not working. And pull back and they'll retreat when you should persevere.
Hmm.
But because the marketing had been there, because everything else had gone right, I was like, actually, it can only be the commitment level. And
Hmm.
and I was right. But I could have thought, shit, that was a real failure, you know?
Mm.
And unless I would have had the trust in myself to just make the decision to cut it in half. So I didn't discount it,
Hmm.
because I don't discount, like
Mm.
not, well, actually, I've got another thing on that in a minute. Um, but so it was 50% off, but it was 50% off the whole deliverables as
Hmm.
well. So I'm not giving more than I'm being paid for, which I think is really important as a business owner, that you come away win-win and not win-lose. But yeah, to be agile, responsive to the market, but also to persevere with an offer that with a few small tweaks, you can completely change the result. And this is the differentiator, I think, between the successful and the people who just stay as is. Like, we're gonna meet failures, we're gonna meet hurdles, and as long as we can adapt to it, embrace it, and course correct, basically, we will see success the other side. But I could have very easily, like a week and a half ago, just been like, pull the plug, ambition ignition was a failure. And
So it's turned around very quickly,
it's turned
actually.
around really quickly, yeah. And I've got two more spaces left on it, and somebody else has just messaged, and I've got two leads in the wings. So I've not
Amazing.
I'm not worried about it at all. And even if nobody else comes, we're a great cohort.
Mm.
For those 3 months, I will make sure they get results. I'll get those testimonials,
Yeah.
create the success stories, hero the clients, and then relaunch it, and it'll be a completely different story. But
Now,
like,
I want to
as a
ask you,
sales trainer, I could have been like, shit, I'm a sales trainer and I can't even sell. Like, that
well,
would have bruised your ego, right? But let's normalize it. Let's just
mm,
completely normalize it.
so I did want to ask about your emotional roller coaster through
Mm.
this journey and what was going on in your head, because I think a lot of people see you as Enfys, everything that she puts out, people like bite her hand off for.
Yeah.
Was there imposter syndrome? Was there self-doubt?
No.
What was, or was it just like, I just need to tweak this and it'll work?
Yeah. Yeah. So last year, in the launches that went really well, I was being chewed up, like, emotionally. They were going so well, and I was like, oh my God, is it working? I can't tell. Ah. So all that mental noise and that mental churn was there last year. With this one, I was just like, this is a real curiosity to me. I was quite
Hmm.
pragmatic. It didn't hurt me
Yeah.
emotionally at all. I felt much more resilient, and I was genuinely just curious. I was just like, this is it. This is like, I can't believe it. Like, a little bit of like, but more curiosity as opposed to like emotionally hammered.
Hmm.
And I think that is it's a confidence that I can rely on myself now to be like, do you know what? If it didn't work this time, I'll do it again like in a week or two, and
Mm.
I'll be fine. Like, I can
Yeah.
trust myself
Mhm.
to course correct, as I say. Um,
Love that.
but
So,
last year, I do want to normalize. Like, I honestly had some mind monkeys in my launches last year, like, that really were noisy, and I probably will again
mm,
in a in a month or two. Do you know what I mean? But for this one, for whatever reason, it didn't work and it didn't hurt me,
mhm.
and it course correct, and I was thrilled, but not. Yeah, it's not throwing out my equilibrium, which is kind of a nice feeling, because when it does, God, you can spiral. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. If you're looking to grow your business, I have something that may change your life. The Success Method course is for small business owners who would like to take their business and their profits to the next level in the next 12 months. Click the link in the show notes to find out more. So, what has been your biggest learning in the 4 years that you have run your business?
I do better with help.
Love it. We all
Yeah,
do, don't
it is
we?
so much better than help. So, those noisy mind monkeys, those usually come when I don't have anyone to soundboard with. Like I'm like just to recognize that I just get such great results with a bit of help, just share the idea. So my husband's now in the business. I I can I'm like, can I just explain this to you? So I'm looking at my flip chart here. I did this with him yesterday. Or I was like at him really. I'm
Mm,
like, sit there and I'll explain it. And then I'm like, that's it, I'm done now. Just to
mm.
be able to put the thoughts
Yeah.
somewhere.
Someone to hold that space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love
But
it.
equally, I so he's good at listening.
Hmm.
But then actually, do you know what I want? I also do really well with a mentor that provides some strategic input. But
Mm.
I've got blind spots. We've
And
got really expensive blind spots in our business. It's insanity for me to be able to assume that I can see it.
hmm
So I'm like, I've got the blind spots that I can see. So I know my list building is there, but is should be like, so that's a blind spot I can identify. What about the blind spots that I just are completely unaware of?
hmm
Those are the
And
ones.
sometimes it's that person to challenge you on things that you think are the right way, but
Mm.
actually, with some small changes, you could be getting significantly better results.
Exactly. Exactly.
Love it. So, just mentioned your husband again. So,
Mm.
what I would love to know is that basically you are a mum with two still fairly young daughters
Hmm.
and a very successful business.
Mm.
How do you find a balance that works for you?
So I'm in a good position now. I think this is why I was feeling so calm about the launch. Like, oh yeah, I think like last year we just moved house. We'd relocated from Bedford to Wales. The whole getting to know the house was kind of crazy. Like we're off grid in some ways. Like our water comes from a stream. Like the filtering system is like just getting to know the house was a
Mm,
thing. Now we're settled. Rick's in the business. I kind of know what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean?
hmm
And like today, this was the only scheduled thing. Tomorrow, I've got one client. I don't know, my time is not completely packed all the
Yeah,
time, which it,
that's
you go through
helpful.
periods. Yeah. I've organized the business so most of my stuff, or almost all of my stuff, is on a one-to-many model.
Hmm
So I've got time now, which is a luxury. And then I've also got like premium offers that the recurring revenue in the business is always there. So even if last week's launch was a fail, it doesn't completely derail the business.
hmm
It's there's a stability in the business that is which is a welcome
Yeah, I can
welcome to
imagine.
my
And
life.
that's actually really interesting because I know oh my goodness, so almost like 90% of the small business owners I know have real cash flow issues.
Mm,
For a lot of people, it's feast or famine. And it's something I was really conscious of when I was setting up my business, is having those like monthly recurring revenue blocks that
yeah.
they aren't necessarily huge, but it's enough there that covers your life.
Yeah.
Then a lot of the time, like you have your amazing months alongside that, where like chunks of income. In fact, I'm on track for another of those this month. Currently third month best ever, but we've still got a week to go. So
Yeah.
um, and it's really interesting to consciously build that stability in financially.
Yeah, it really is. And it's a conscious choice. We do our pricing consciously to avoid spikes and intentionally to encourage monthly recurring revenue. So we don't penalize for monthly payments as opposed to and incentivize upfront usually.
Mm,
It's actually rare for us to incentivize upfront because actually as a business it's much calmer
yeah,
to have,
much
yes, of course, it's wonderful to have
emotionally
the
healthier.
payments, but it's more relaxing to have the recurring revenue. But cash flow, do you know what? Let's normalize that cash flow
Mm,
can be a beast. Like, especially, when you're getting to grips with VAT like rhythms, when you're getting used to your supplier payments, you've got bigger investments. The more you make, the more you spend.
And
There's
especially when you up level. So I have not a client, just a friend of mine. I'm not going to identify her, but I don't think she'd mind me telling the story. She has this incredible product that she sells. It's very niche. It's not something I would ever use. Not something she's tried to give it to me. And I'm like, that is not me. Thank you so much. But I'm not your target
I'm like,
market.
what the hell is it?
I
But
know.
it would
I'll
give
tell
it
you
away.
after.
So
I'll
don't
tell you
worry.
after.
Don't worry.
So like incredible girl doing amazing things with a very
Mm.
niche product, which has now just recently been stocked in some of the big players. So like Barnes and Noble, TK
Okay.
Maxx, stocked on
Wow.
like multiple continents. And with that next level of places that she's supplying to comes the big boys payment terms.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. They're
that,
squeezy, especially product businesses.
yes,
The overheads are massive.
yes. And if somebody is going to they're going to take the stock, but they're not going to pay you for 3 months.
Yeah.
That is the point where a lot of businesses can actually go under, even though it looks on the surface like they're being massively
Yeah.
successful. So cash flow is always something to keep an eye
Yeah,
on.
so that is completely outside of my area of expertise in terms of global retail brands. That's so I specialize with UK-based service-based
Yeah,
business owners, which the profit on a service-based business is higher.
yeah, for
But
sure.
cash flow, do you know what? Every level will have it, and I will still have pinches. Like if I decide to invest and they want to get upfront payment, and I was like, oh God,
Hmm.
or like, oh, do you know what caught me out is incorporation tax. I didn't know. It was new to me. I didn't,
Wow. That must have been a horrible moment.
it was massive. It was a horrible moment. And I was like, huh. So we can all get caught unawares because we're going into new territory quite quickly. And
Hmm.
unless you ask the right questions, and this is what I mean about blind spots, if you don't ask the right questions, you don't know what's coming. Yes, you can peripherally be aware, but business development, business growth, success, it is trial and error, learning on
Mm.
the job, persevering, and knowing that those hurdles are
Mm.
coming. And if you've got the ability to monetize your expertise, though, you can get over it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the one thing I would say is that with cash flow, there's always options. Like there are some businesses that specialize in helping people with temporary cash flow to help
Mm.
them to get through that black spot. So if anyone is listening, know that you have options. Like your business doesn't need to go under because of like payment terms or something.
Mm.
So final question for you, Enfys.
Mm.
If Enfys 10 years
Mm.
ago could
Yeah.
knock on the door right now to your lovely little, not that little, your lovely big Welsh house, what would she say to you?
Ah, so I would have been pregnant, I think. We found out on Christmas Day 10 years ago that we were having our first. And I was not entrepreneurial back then. I had a job, I was a team leader, I was living in Bristol. My husband was not, he has, well, had he gone? Yeah, he'd just started to retrain as an engineer. He went back to university. I wouldn't even, but I'd probably be like, what the frick are you doing back in
Yeah.
Wales?
Why Wales? And what's this business that you're running? Would she
It-
would she have been mind blown? Would she have been impressed?
do you know what? I've never thought about this question, Ruth, ever. Um, I think she'd think, what the fuck happened there? Like, because it is so distant in those,
Yeah.
because not even my travel business was a
Oh
concept.
wow. So you
So
were
I
still
had,
an employee at the
yeah, I
time.
was a complete, and I was on what, 30K a year in a paid job. I had been traveling quite a lot. They used to send me out to Asia to sample beautiful hotels of the world quite a lot, which was really nice.
Gosh, that sounds like a tough job.
It was really nice. Yeah, I had to and I had to sample all the product as well. So I had to go on all these fancy experiences, like go to Burma and try the cookery school and
Love it.
so,
Love it.
but yeah, no, I would just like now I'm actually lost for words. I think she'd turn up and be like, what?
Amazing. And if you could give her some advice,
Hmm.
what would it be?
Oh, just, I don't know if I needed to hear any particular advice. I think because it's played out well, I would be, you know, don't overcomplicate things. Trust your inner self to the core, because you're gonna do freaking brilliant things. You know,
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Enfys, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. So for anyone listening to this, where is the best place to connect with you? And is there anything that you've got coming up that people should be watching out for and jumping onto?
Nothing specifically jumping out, but in the background, I run a free Facebook group called the Business Lounge, which is rather lovely. And my Vibrant Connections online networking is my pride and joy. Everything's my pride and joy, though, to be fair. But Vibrant Connections, you can visit. It's online networking, Monday of the month.
Third Monday, okay. And how do people, so if people find you on LinkedIn, they can hook
Well,
up?
they can ask you for a visitor pass. They can ask you for a visitor pass. If you come and find me on LinkedIn or anywhere, the visitor passes will be pointed to, and then you can join as a member and be part of my wonderful community. You know?
Love it.
But Vibrant Connections is a wonderful starting place, and that will move from networking to sales strategy. Lots of people like coming through there and experience whatever else they need.
Beautiful. And I have to say, I have met some of my favourite people in that room, so it's a good place to be.
It is.
Love it.
Thank you for being a part of it, and thank you for inviting me onto your podcast.
You're super welcome. Have an amazing day.
Thanks, Ruth.
Thank you for listening today. If you like what you hear, please hit subscribe and leave us a review. Even better, come connect with me, Ruth Ferreira, on LinkedIn and Instagram. I'd love to get to know you.